Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is time to review the brand new Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear Foundation that was reformulated from the old version, which has been a favorite of mine for quite some time. So when I found out that it was reformulated, I can't say that I was super excited about it. I feel like all of my favorites tend to either be discontinued or reformulated. And I didn't really feel personally like there was anything that needed to be done to make it any better, but obviously someone at Lancome did. So they reformulated it. I purchased it during the Sephora VIB sale and had a lot of y'all ask me to do a comparison. So that is what I am here to do. I'm not only comparing it to the original, but I'm also comparing it to the Care and Glow. And there's a couple reasons for that. I mentioned the main reason in my demos, but another reason is that when you look at how they have updated this new version, they have added more skincare ingredients, one of which being hyaluronic acid. The big difference with this is that it has hyaluronic acid added to it as well. And I just felt like it needed to be compared with that too. Now, when I look at how they have improved the formula, it says it is still 24-hour wear, still full coverage, still a natural matte finish, humidity and transfer resistant, and breathable. But the new formula has undetectable coverage, lightweight, powered by advanced airwear technology, skin-loving ingredients, 28 new shades across all intensities, deep shades without a gray cast, and olive shades that aren't too yellow or orange. So even though there are 28 new shades, there are still 50 shades total, which is not a different total number from the old one. It's just that they have changed up some of the shades within it. For example, my shade in the old version was 260N. They do not have a 260N in this new version. So if you have a solid, perfect match in the old, it may take a little bit of time to figure out what your new match will be. So again, the main difference is that they have added skincare ingredients like hyaluronic acid, vitamin E, moringa seed extract, prebiotics. It is fragrance-free, which to my recollection, the original was as well. It has gone up $5. So the original was $52. This is now $57. So those are the main differences I can see upon first researching the old and the new formula. We're gonna jump into the demos right now where I'm gonna show you how I apply side by side, tell you how I thought they wore. If they wore differently, you can kind of see what you think, and then I'll come back with my final thoughts. I'm in the shade 260 Bisque Neutral in this, which they do not have in the new version. So I had to get a different color. There's a little bit of a color difference when I first apply it, but once I get all of my makeup on, you really can't tell. I start off with one pump and just dot. You can see the redness that I'm working with this morning. My skin is like the weather in Tennessee. It just can't make up its mind when it comes to redness. Some mornings I wake up and I have absolutely no redness. And then other mornings I wake up and I've got this, you know, it just has a mind of its own. So I'm just going to stipple that in. This is the IT Cosmetics, I think just is it number 15? Number 115 foundation brush. I will link this down below as well because it's probably my favorite out of all of the brushes that I have for foundation. Okay, so that's one pump of the old formula of the Lancome Teint Idole. Good, solid, medium to buildable full coverage. If I wanted to build up on the little bit of redness that I personally can see, it sometimes doesn't translate to the camera, that I have left over here, it would be a full coverage. But right now I'm just gonna leave it be. So even though this says neutral, it's a tad warm, but it's not too warm. So let's go on to the new Teint Idole Ultra Wear. And for this, I picked 305 neutral. So again, they did not have the 260 neutral. After looking at shade descriptions and swatches online, I felt like this would be the best, and it does end up working. So again, just dot. And this is definitely more neutral. It even has a slight olive tone to it, but that really is not pronounced once it's blended out, but it is more neutral than the original in 260N. So that is the new, and I'm gonna do a close-up, but after like initial, obviously, application, The main difference I found between these two is the consistency of the formula. And I will put a picture up on the screen of like a screenshot that I took of showing the foundation right after I pumped it on my hand. And you'll be able to see that the new formula is markedly more like runny and thin than the old, because you can see it running down my hand. Because of that, I feel like the new formula went farther on the face than the old. I used one pump of both. They have the same pump feature, so it was the same amount of product that came out. And I still do have a little bit of the new formula left on my hand after doing this side of my face, whereas the original formula, I used the entire pump. That's the main difference I can see upon first application. I'll do a close-up and see if we can see any difference of how it lays on the skin. Okay, so again, this is the new formula and this is the old. Now, you can see a little bit of a line of my redness here. Sometimes it makes it look like my foundation is not blended out properly because that line is there, but you can still see a little bit of that through the old formula, whereas I really can't see any demarcations of my redness on the new, but the amount of redness is also a little bit different as well. So keep that in mind per side of my face. But upon first application, I do not see a huge difference on the finish, or other than that little bit of red, the coverage. It is laying very similarly on both sides of my face. So I'm gonna finish up my makeup. We're gonna see if we can tell a difference after everything else is applied. Okay, all the makeup is on. I did not wear a highlighter today. I just didn't want anything to make the foundations appear more luminous than they are. So I chose to skip that part, but there is blush and bronzer, and it's gonna be the same blush and bronzer I use in the next demo. But this part's gonna be really quick because I looked in my Faithful Ilios light up mirror very closely to both sides of my face after I applied the rest of my makeup, and I see honestly no difference. So I think the main tell of how these differ is going to be how they wear throughout the day, which I can only see once I wear them. It's not the first time I've worn them. I know how they wear throughout the day. So I'm gonna wear these throughout the day for probably a good 10 hours, if not more, and I'll be taking notes and we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But right now I'm gonna jump into the half face of the Care & Glow and the new Teint Idole. I had originally thought that I would just talk through with y'all how it wore throughout the day, but then I thought inevitably somebody's gonna be like, I really wish you would have shown us. So here I am showing you. I have had this foundation or these foundations on for 10 hours now. And I thought I would show you kind of a close-up of how they wore and see if you can tell any difference. I have not done anything to my face for the past 10 hours. I have not sprayed my face. I have not reapplied SPF. I did that for y'all. I didn't put my powder SPF on because I did not want to change anything about how this wears. I have not touched up, put any extra powder, nothing. This is after 10 hours of wear, and hopefully y'all can tell why I love this foundation so much. Now, I did cheat and put a highlighter on halfway through the day. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I didn't for half the day. Just needed some highlight in my life. But other than that, surely you can tell it just wears so long and so well and does not change at all. Now, I have done a very close-up look in my lighted mirror to see if I could see any difference. I'll do a close-up with you. Now, remember, this is the side with the original Teint Idole, and this is the side with the new version of the Teint Idole. Now, I know it's not always easy to see, Zeus just left, through the camera, very small details. But I'm going to tell you, I don't see a difference really at all. The only thing that I have seen is that there's some wear on like the very tip of my nose from just like going like this throughout the day. And the wear on this side of my nose is a little more prominent than on this side. So the newer one has kind of worn off a little bit on my nose on the side where the older version didn't. But other than that, that is really it. That is all that I can tell as far as the difference between the two after 10 hours of wear. But as you can see, both wear for a very long time and wear very well. So far, so good, because I was really scared it was going to be very, very, very different from my very favorite original, but I can't tell much of a difference. So now, I know I said earlier, let's go on to the Care and Glow. Now we're going to go on to the Care and Glow. So today we are going to put the new Teint Idole Ultra up against the Teint Idole Ultra Wear Care and Glow. Now the reason I am doing this and not just comparing the original Teint Idole with the new Teint Idole is because when I first used the new one, I felt like the consistency of the formula was very similar to this one. Now, I've not put them up against each other yet. This will be the first time I do it. But because of that, I was like, you know what? They're both new to the Lancome foundation family. Maybe they're more alike than I think. The whole purpose of this is to tell y'all, hey, if you have the old one or if you have Care and Glow, you don't really need this one right now. So we're gonna put these two against each other to see if that is the case. We'll start out with the Care and Glow. I am in the shade 310 in this one. They have a 305 in, which is what I have in the new one. Y'all, I'm just all over the place. But it helps y'all determine how close in colors these are. I use the same brush as yesterday. I have the same SPF on as yesterday. Another way that these are very similar to each other, at least in the marketing claims, is that the Care and Glow has a lot of skin-loving ingredients, whereas the new Teint Idole is claiming the same, to have added skin-loving ingredients. So that's another reason I wanted to kind of put these up against each other. Okay, so that is one pump of the 310 in, and then nothing over here. So just like yesterday, same kind of redness happening. Good solid medium coverage. I have one dot right back here by my ear. And I feel like that's how I determine the coverage of foundations, because if a foundation over the first pass covers the majority of that spot, then I consider it full coverage. This one didn't, but it also covered my redness way better than a light. So to me, that is medium. Possibly keep building it up to a full, but I don't think I want to. Once again, the consistency of the new Teint Idole is much runnier than the Care and Glow. So once again, the new one went farther than the Care and Glow, meaning I did one pump of each and I still have more left on my hand of the new formulation versus using the entire pump for the Care and Glow. So I just did a close-up myself, but we'll do a close-up for y'all. Care and Glow over here, and the new Teint Idole over here. So I kind of like to look at my cheekbones and see how much light is catching to see and gauge luminosity. And so there's a good amount of light catching there for the new one. But kind of the same amount here. Actually, I think this one catches a little bit more light, but pretty comparable. Once again, when I look at these two up close, they look very, very, very similar on the skin. So we'll see how they look with a full face, and we'll see how they look at the end of the day. But I do remember when I did my video of the, at that time, 3 Teint Idole foundations, the stick, the Care and Glow, and the original. I remember feeling like the Care and Glow was very similar to the original, and I didn't feel like you needed both in your collection. So I'm wondering if I'm gonna feel the same way about this one upon first application and really studying it in the mirror. They are extremely similar. So I'll finish up my makeup and we'll see if anything changes. Okay, makeup is done. Once again, new Care and Glow. No highlight on, so that's just the foundation. I mean, it's very similar to yesterday, y'all. I do not see a massive difference. So the decision will be made on how they wear. So I will be back in roughly 10 hours to see. Okay, guys, we're going on 10 hours again. And he's back. Are you back? No, he's not back. Same time every night, it seems. So 10 hours with the new Teint Idole and the Care and Glow. No touch-ups, just like yesterday. I do feel like overall, I'm a little more luminous than I was at the end of the day yesterday. However, I would not say it is anywhere near the type of luminous where I feel like I need to touch up. And this is going to sound like a very redundant video, but after close inspection on my lighted mirror, I don't see a huge difference in how these wear, which coincides with yesterday's not seeing a huge difference, since I feel like the Care and Glow is very similar to the original Teint Idole. The only difference is On my forehead, on the Care and Glow side, it seems to be fading a little bit right up here on the hairline. However, today on the new Teint Idole side, it sunk into my smile lines a tad more than it did on this side. So I feel like they kind of even each other out in that way, and I'm being very critical pointing those things out. Because I feel like these foundations as a whole wear so well, I feel like I have to be critical in comparing them and contrasting them because they're all just so good. So again, another day of not much difference, really good wear. The only thing I would say is a little bit different from today than yesterday is that I'm just a tad bit more luminous at the end of the day, but I never felt like I needed to touch up or was getting too dewy or greasy. That wraps up today. Now I'm going to go to a different day, I'm sure, and tell you my final thoughts on the brand new Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear Foundation. Okay, so my final thoughts I feel like can pretty much be summed up by what you've already seen in the demo. So I'm not going to be too repetitive, or at least I'm not going to try to be. And that is that I don't think it is different enough for either A, you loved the old formula to think that you're not gonna like the new formula, or that it's not gonna work for you. Or B, if you didn't like the old formula, I'm not quite sure if you're gonna see that much of a difference with the new formula. Now, I have had some comments that say the new one is so much better. I just don't see that big of a difference. I would love if you are one of those people that feel like it is so much better. I would love for you to share with us and everyone in the comment section why you think it's better. The main difference that I could tell is the formula in itself of this being a thinner consistency. Another main difference that I see with looking at the packaging, which is also different. So this is the old packaging. Okay, so it's a little more busier than the new packaging. So a little more streamlined, old packaging, new packaging. And when you look at that, you see automatically that the old has an SPF of 15, the new has an SPF of 25, at least in the colors that I have. And the old formula was octinoxate only, and the new is octinoxate and titanium dioxide. So you've got both a chemical and a physical sunscreen filter in the new formula. And I don't remember if I say in the demo, but the Care and Glow has an SPF 27, and that is actually the filter of, I'm not gonna be able to say this. Okay, I'm gonna Google this. Insolazil. Okay, well, that is the filter of Insolazil, 3.6%. But as far as the wear goes and how it looks on my skin, I don't see enough of a difference for me to say, yes, this is better, or yes, this is worse. And that goes with both the old formula and the new Care and Glow. So all of that to say is, I don't think that if you have the Care and Glow that you need to run out and get this one. I don't think if you have the old formula and you like it, that you need to think this one is so much better that you need to run out and get it before you are done with the old formula. But I also don't think that when you are done with the old formula that you shouldn't give this a try. Does that make sense? It's a lot of formulas in what I just said. All in all, I'm not as mad as I thought I would be with them reformulating this product. Still great. Still love how it wears. Still love how it looks. Still one of my favorites. So hopefully that helped in some form or fashion. I will have all three of these foundations and everything I have on my face for, I believe, every day. I think I wrote everything down in the description box below. I do use affiliate links, so thank you for choosing to use those to support my channel. And I appreciate y'all watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all have a very blessed day.